Hi, welcome to St Magnus Cathedral. I'm not able to say how many services for St Magnus Day have been held over the centuries on this day here, but one is always deeply touched, even in our current extraordinary times, to be given the privilege of leading a commemoration of St Magnus and taking one's place in the continuum, not only of history, but of the journey of faith in this community, sustained by this cathedral built in St Magnus' honour. I'm sure, like me, you have been making the most of the opportunity of the recent good weather to get out into the garden and begin to tidy up after the remnants of winter. I hope, like me, you have the opportunity to enjoy the amazing profusion of daffodils that adorn Orkney at this time. In this time of lockdown, if we are fortunate enough to have gardens, then these surely are places where we see what God has created in all its magnificence. By contrast, the church is a very human organisation, but also the garden of God's grace. It is a place where great sanctity keeps blooming. Saints are people who make the living Christ visible to us in a special way, like daffodils in spring. Some saints have given their lives in the service of Christ and His church. Others have spoken and written words that keep nurturing us. Some have lived heroically in difficult situations. Others have remained hidden in quiet lives of prayer and meditation. Some were prophetic voices calling for renewal. Others were spiritual strategists setting up large organizations or networks of people. Some were healthy and strong. Others were often quite sick and often anxious and quite insecure. Some were ancient, others only in the first flush of youth. But all of them, in their own ways, lived in the church as a garden, where they heard the voice calling them from the beloved, and where they found the courage to make Jesus the centre of their lives. For St Magnus, that meant the following through of Jesus' teaching, to love one's enemies, to go the second mile, to give one's shirt as well as one's coat. The way of non-violence, the giving of his own life, that the life and lives of his people and the community would be better and be made whole. St Magnus chose that way of sacrificial love. We can legitimately ask, how can someone ever trust the existence of an unconditional divine love when most, if not all, of what he had experienced in his life is the opposite of love: fear, hatred, violence. Despite the times, there remained within Magnus, hidden as it may seem, the possibility to choose love. Many people, many saints who have suffered the most horrendous rejections and been subject to many cruel experiences have been able to choose love. By choosing love, Magnus became not only a witness to human resilience, but also to the divine love that transcends all human loves. St Magnus, who chose, even on a small scale in the big picture, to love in the midst of hatred and fear, is truly one of the saints who offer true hope in our world. And we all know that there are saints all around us, working to keep us safe from harm just now. Like Magnus, choosing the way of love.